Welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't already know, my name's Joe, and today we're going to talk about communication in relationships. Now, this is something that I'm talking to you about theoretically. There is some work that I have done and I've improved no end, but communication's the biggest thing that breaks down relationships. Bad communication, that is. And it's actually a lot more difficult than we think, you know. You think, okay, it's just talking, but it's not. It's about setting up such a healthy environment where you can have a two-way interaction. Some of the biggest things that I've seen and I've experienced personally in my previous relationships that I'm going to talk about now. So one of them is when somebody brings up something to you. Let's say you've done something and your partner then voices that to you. What used to happen with me is they would voice it all to me and I would take it in. I'd feel very attacked. And then I would then voice a load of things that I'd been bottling up, and I would say, okay, yeah, well, you did this, you did that, you did this. That is not healthy. When you're in a healthy relationship, you let your partner approach you, tell you what she needs to tell you, and you can be there, you can reassure her or him, whatever it is. And then, you know, if you need to then voice some things of your concern, you do that at a later date, but not in that moment, because then you get into a back and forward. Now, what I would say though is a lot of this is about framing, because if you go up to your partner and say, you did this and you did that and you're not doing this and you're not doing that, or even you did this and it made me feel like this, that's not healthy either, because that person's going to feel attacked. I feel very attacked. The minute somebody says you, it makes it very personal to you, that becomes an attack on me. I'm then in defense mode. I'm not even listening to what you're saying. I'm not taking it in. I'm definitely not being empathetic, which is what they need you to be. Whenever somebody brings something to you, they want you to give them some reassurance. It's a cry for help from them. So it's really about that framing piece. And in theory, that sounds really easy to do. But what I would suggest is you do not say you. And when you approach a situation, you just have a game plan. So, and what I mean by a game plan is, hey, X, whatever your partner's name is, do you mind if we have a quick chat about what happened yesterday? And then the outcome I want is just to voice my side of it. Or you might say, I just need a little bit of reassurance because of what we said might have made you feel a little bit anxious or insecure. So just make sure you frame it. So you frame what the topic is, but it isn't about you did this yesterday and I want to talk about it. It's can we just talk about what happened between us yesterday? You know, something that's quite light, and then just try and put an end goal on it and say, the only thing for me is I'd just like to talk to you about it. And even now I'm talking about it, but it might be like, yeah, like I say, it's even now I'm talking about it, it's actually hard to say the right thing, but it depends on the situation. And then it's about saying, okay, well, the end goal for me is just that you hear my side of it, or it might be that you need some reassurance or whatever it is. But you can hear now the stuttering in my voice because these situations are actually quite tricky. But the main thing is when your partner voices something, it's not your turn to then voice a load of issues you've had bottled up the whole time, because think about it, that's how you get into this ping pong, this unhealthy sort of argument style communication, isn't it? And another thing is, if you understand that women are very emotional, men are very like fixy, so it's our natural reaction to want to fix things. Women are very emotional. A lot of the time the women just want to be heard, they don't want you to fix it. And if you're unsure about that, what I would suggest is you say to your partner, do you want some reassurance here, or do you want me just to listen, or do you want me to provide a solution? Because then you know definitively what they want. And quite a lot of times a woman will just want to vent, and that quite a lot of time a masculine thing to do is they want an outcome. So you'll go to them with, I've got this problem and I want us to sit down and resolve it, because that's the way like a male brain, and that's a very masculine thing to do. That's what we should be aiming to do. So yeah, if you can think about it from that perspective. But when you go back to the female as well, they are emotional. So your partner may well come at you quite aggressively, or what you deem as aggressive, or over the top, or not in the healthiest manner. And what you've really got to try to do, and this is very difficult, is see that as a cry for help from your partner. And if you can do that, then you can just be there, you can reassure them, you can put your arm around them saying, are you all right? Is there anything you want me to help you with? Now, a lot of guys, and I used to be like, I used to think, oh, well, that means I'm going to be a doormat. They can't speak to me like that. Don't appreciate it when they speak to me that way. This is when a time's passed and that is finished, might be 12 hours, might be a day later, you can approach your partner and say, hey, Sandra, whatever her name is, can we just have a quick chat about yesterday? It actually left me feeling a bit unappreciated. And all I want to do is just voice my side of it. This isn't about undermining your side. Hopefully I was there for you enough yesterday. I just want to just get that out there. Then you can have a chat and just talk about how that when they approached you, if it was maybe in an aggressive manner or she shouted or it left you feeling a certain way. For me, a lot of the time it is unappreciated. It might be that I've done 10 tasks that morning for the family and then my partner comes in and kicks off because there's a dirty plate on the side. And I'm like, oh, I get there's a dirty plate on the side, but actually, I've done X, Y, and Z that day. But what our tendency is to do is when they're voicing their concern, when they're crying out for help about the dirty plate, it's then that we're like, well, actually, I've done this, I've done that, I've done this. That's not going to have a healthy conversation. So all of the communication piece in a relationship is about setting up this healthy environment. And ultimately, what we want to be is truly vulnerable with one another. Now, if you're truly vulnerable, you might get to the bottom of it with your partner and she might say to you one day, actually, when I come into the house and there's a dirty plate on the side, it irritates me so much because I just really enjoy the house being tidy and clean and I can't relax until then, and I've had a really busy day, and that's why I overreact in these situations sometimes. And if you understand that before they've overreacted, when they do overreact about something, you can be like, she's triggered because of that. And I know she just wants to come in and chill out because she's had a busy day, or the kids have been driving her mad, or whatever's been going on in life. But that's the importance of having these deeper chats and really understanding each other. And it might take one blow up. It might take her going mad about a plate one day, and then you just taking it on the chin and then sitting down with her after, say, look, can we just have a talk about yesterday? I just want to understand why the plate got to you that day. And hopefully you've opened up a healthy communication channel where she can either say, look, I'm sorry, Joe, yesterday was just a bit much for me. I shouldn't have reacted the way I did. Or she might get to truly the bottom of it and be like, you know what, I've always grown up in this environment and my dad used to make me feel a certain way about X, Y, and Z, and I just can't let go, I can't chill out, I can't relax until the house is all tidied away, and I'd just appreciate in future if you could just help me out with that as best you can. Do you know what I mean? And then you get into a stage where wow, yeah, I get why you're doing all this. Like I say, all of this is easier said than done, but what I would encourage you to do, this is not all about your partner, because you've got to think women are very emotional, they're going to come up with a lot of these things. When you get triggered, now it's your turn to be the man and to think about why that's triggered you. And you might have a little ding dong, and if you have a little argument and you guys just brush it under the carpet or whatever, and you're good at doing that and it just goes away, that's cool. But then what I would suggest you do is think about why it triggered you. Try and get really deep on it. It might genuinely be something from childhood, and then sit down when you're both calm. Maybe just been for a nice walk. Walking's very good for communicating, because when you sit down on the sofa face to face, it's like you're in an interview, isn't it? You're like, right, let's talk about this subject. That's not that good, because then their fight or flight's going to get going. But if you're walking, you're side by side, it's quite light-hearted, you're out in the open, you're out in the public, things are not likely to get heated or get out of hand. So makes a much better environment for having a healthy conversation in the relationship. But then, like I said, once you've identified your trigger, then you can be like, okay, actually yesterday I got a bit angry, or I started to withdraw a little bit in our relationship because of X, Y, and Z. And actually, when I've had a good think about it, that's because of this or that. And just this is how you start building on this and building a really healthy relationship based on communication. But like I say, it's theory is one thing and putting it into practice, but you will fail. You won't get it right every time. I did a lot of work, and in my previous long-term relationship, I started to get a lot better at it. And then I had this situationship, and everything went out the window. It was like completely went out the window, and I handled it awfully. And I was all like, "You did this, and I do this for you, and you don't do it back for me." And that went down like a lead balloon. Went down absolutely awfully, and it's no wonder. She wasn't to blame for that. That was my fault because the way I pitched it. I was attacking her verbally. I may not have been shouting at her, but I started saying, I do this for you and you don't do it back for me. That's attacking someone, isn't it? Emotionally, but like in their head. So yeah, it's a tricky one. Very, very tricky, but talk through these things. Once you understand yourself, then you can start getting to the bottom of them yourself, identifying your triggers, and then talking about them. When the dust has settled, when it's all calmed down again, go and apologise if you've overreacted or you've withdrawn. If you've withdrawn, go and apologise again, because your partner's going to pick up on that. And all this stuff just starts to breed resentment if it's unresolved. And again, this communication's one of the biggest breakdowns, but bad communications leads to resentment. Because if you're not getting your needs met and that your partner's failing you every time, and then you're not communicating about it and it's not getting resolved, you get more resentful, you get more resentful, you get more resentful, and then the relationship's either going to be miserable or it's going to end. Both not very good. But there's a new community, new school community, probably not very new by the time you're watching this video, but it's down below, the link. If you're not already in it, sign up, it's free. It's going to be a great place where we can just talk about this stuff. And if you're anything like me, I started this because I don't have friends I can talk about this sort of stuff with. Hence why I'm talking to a camera now. But this is going to be a great spot where we can just share stuff that's going on in our life. Share failures as well. And then when somebody comes in there with their shared communication piece, their argument they've had with their partner, you can pitch in with your knowledge, I can pitch in with mine. We can work it all through together and really help each other and just try and be the best people we can be in relationships and life in general. That's the plan for it. It's all going to be free, like I said, so hit the link down below, sign up, and do all the good YouTube stuff. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.